Alright, what's up YouTube? Let's try back again. This time I'm doing a video on a prediction for UFC 118. It's going to be boxing versus UFC, I guess they're calling it. It's going to be Randy Couture against James Toney. So this should be a pretty good fight. Looks like Randy Couture didn't really ask for this fight, but you know, was kind of one of the guys they thought of would be a good person to give to James Toney as his first kind of introduction into mixed martial arts in the UFC. Now let's just look at the background for both fighters a little bit. Both fighters are legendary in their own respected sports. Randy Couture being probably the most famous mixed martial artist, or one of the most famous mixed martial artists in history, being that he's been in the UFC since the early 90s, since the dark ages. He's been fighting, and you know, he's had great success. He has lost quite a bit, but he's also come back after losing several times, and you know, reclaimed championship belts in the heavyweight division, light heavyweight division. He's just he's been a champion so many times now it's hard to even keep count. Now James Toney, being pretty much exactly the same way in boxing, also fighting in different weight classes, being a world champion, being at the top of the game for a long time, and they're both fairly starting to get older now, and their skills are starting to dwindle a little bit. James Toney brings that old school boxing style with the shoulder rolling, and you know, that kind of style that he brings, that old school boxing, dirty boxing style there. Randy Couture, basically his biggest strength, we all know, being that he has got the wrestling that you know, very few can compete with, aside from the likes of Brock Lesnar or maybe Cain Velasquez. Randy Couture's wrestling is amazing. It always has been. Now, when I first heard about this fight, I thought to myself, well, instantaneously, oh, Randy Couture's gonna smoke him. Randy Couture's gonna beat James Toney hands down, no question about it, no problem. But the more I started looking into it, and after watching Randy Couture's last few fights, I have trouble staying with that. I will say that I think that this is a much more even match than most people think it's going to be. I'm still going to pick Couture, but this is going to be a lot closer than I think a lot of people are thinking. And the reason why is because Randy Couture is not in his prime anymore. He's not even close to his prime anymore. He's still fighting great, and he's changed, and he's, you know, his style has become different. However, he's definitely, you know, nowhere close to his prime. He's getting slower. His reflexes are, you know, starting to dwindle. He's having a lot of problems overall, you know, keeping up with the new generation of fighters. That being said, James Toney is not necessarily a new generation fighter. James Toney is kind of like an old boxer who is, you know, sounds like he's just trying to make some money, pretty much. Now, there's been a lot of controversy over whether James Toney is training and taking this seriously, or he's just messing around and he's just trying to make some money. Supposedly he's been training with King Moe and some of those trainers there. He's lost some weight. He's getting in better shape. His endurance is getting better. He's still as strong as he was before, and he's just really getting ready for this fight and preparing and taking it very seriously. Now, there's been a lot of speculation over just how long James Toney's been training for this, and how long he's been training MMA, and you know, how good his takedown defense is going to be. Apparently he's got some kind of submissions that they're talking about. Now, whether or not these are going to be good enough to deal with Randy, I just don't think so. Now, however, the reason why this can be a very close fight is because Randy's reflexes are getting slower, and you know, he's starting to have a hard time with you know, stand-up fighters and strikers. Brandon Vera, the match with Randy Couture, showed that Couture is having a little bit of trouble getting in close sometimes. The younger, faster fighters are able to throw those strikes in there before Randy can you know, attack and get in there. Now, I will say that I think that James Toney's style of boxing is not good for MMA, and this is what I mean by that. James Toney kind of has that old school style boxing that is restrictive to boxing, that works in boxing. Those shoulder rolls and that kind of stuff and that style, it works in boxing. But that stance is not good for MMA, especially against someone like Randy Couture. You stand like that with one leg, you know, far out front and the other, and start, you know, keeping your chin back and covering it, rolling your shoulder around and trying to, you know, use that to evade. That's not going to help you against Couture. You put a leg out in front like that, he's going to grab that leg right away, and you're going to be on your back in less than half a second. Now, what I think is going to happen is I think that James Toney will land some good shots on Couture, and we're going to see Couture's chin tested again. That right there is going to be the question, whether or not this fight is going to go to Toney or go to Couture. If Couture can get in close and close that distance, that's it. The fight's over. If Toney can stay away from Couture's shot and just even defend it even a couple times, Toney has a great chance of knocking out Couture. I'd say in this fight you're probably looking at about a 70% chance roughly that the Randy's going to win this, because I think that and most people would agree, when you take a wrestler against a strict boxer and you put them, even if he's a world-class boxer and the best boxer we've ever seen in mixed martial arts, the boxing is effective at distance, but once you get in close, I don't see that as being effective. Toney can use his dirty boxing inside, when they get in the clinch, but I just think that his wrestling defense is not going to be good enough to keep him on his feet. I think Randy's going to take him down, and we may see something similar to the Coleman Couture fight, where Couture just basically is too much for him, takes him down, puts on a submission, or maybe pounds him out. I think that the Couture understands that fans are looking to see here. They kind of want to see Toney get pounded, so hopefully Randy puts it to him and puts some ground and pound on him, and that'd be really nice to see. If he doesn't want to, if he just wants to win, he'll probably just submit him and get it over with. I'm going to say Randy Couture in the first round, possibly the second round. Toney will land a few shots, but I think that Couture will be able to weather the storm and close the distance and end the fight via ground and pound if he wants to make a show for the fans, or submission if he just wants the victory.